take some time out to wish the dads out there happy Father's Day. And if you have anything nice to say to the dads too, I would love you to say that. So daddies out there, happy Father's Day. We really love and we appreciate you guys. And we just pray that God continues to empower you guys to be providers and just continue to be awesome. And to the kids, cherish your dad, love them, and just take good care of them. Crystal, do you have something to say to the dads out there?
Shout out to all the dads who are present, that are just trying to shift, just, I guess, even just the natural mold of a father-child relationship with their kiddos. So super proud of all the fathers that are willing to do that work, and just continue to bless y'all as you love your kids and lead your family. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, happy Father's Day. but now we yes, but now we can go ahead and start. So everyone, thanks again for being here today. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about debunking the stigma behind mental health. To explain further what this topic means, because I know a lot of people might not know what it means, so I'm just going to break down what mental health is and what stigma is. Right. So mental health is basically a serious disorder in a person's behavior, thinking, or for some examples include anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, or schizophrenia. And there's much more to mental health. So now, what is stigma? Stigma is basically a mark of disgrace associated with a particular circumstance, quality, or person. So when we put these two together, which is mental health stigma, it's basically discriminating against people with mental health, and the public looking down on these individuals as sometimes they're crazy, they're mad, they're dangerous, they're violent. And when due to stigma associated with mental health, a lot of people will not seek help because they're ashamed and they're so scared to let people know how they're really feeling. And I just feel like it's one thing to deal with mental illness by one's own self, and it's another to deal with it when the whole world is completely pounding down on you, you know? And in addition, there are consequences when societies stigmatize mental health. And this often will lead to isolation, lower self-esteem, difficulties at work, reduced likelihood of receiving treatment, and lastly, suicide. Some people kill themselves because we stigmatize mental health, which is why I feel this has to be talked about. And I just love that Crystal was willing to share our opinion on this. And I just want to say thank you so much, Crystal, for being here today. So I'm just going to go ahead and have you go ahead and like introduce yourself. Let people know you.
Well, I'll just start by saying thank you for having me. Thank you for just wanting to continue to spark the conversation around mental health, as well as just seeking to break down those barriers that keep so many from receiving help and keep so many from actually seeking help and you know, really getting the help that they need. My name is Crystal Obasanya. I am a Nigerian American, currently living in Texas. I went to school to get my, well, I got my bachelor's in psychology, and then I got my master's degree in clinical social work. So I worked for child and family. I worked as a child and family therapist, and I am currently working as a crisis counselor. So I've done a lot of therapy. I've done a lot of intervention. I've worked at psychiatric hospitals. I've worked in schools, at alternative schools. So I've just been in a lot of different settings. And I think that these different settings do allow me to glean from different populations and different backgrounds, and just different uniqueness that come with being human, right? So, that's a lot of my background. Growing up, I wanted to go to med school. I was like, med school's where I'm going. You know, my parents go to med school. But something in me shifted in college. My junior year of college, where I was like, I want to go to school to help other people heal. I want to be in those places with them. I want to be in that dark place with them because I had experienced my own dark place. So, wow, people are legit out here walking around smiling, and they're going through hell, literally, internally. And I want to be that person that can like really sit with them in that, right? And help them out of it and really bring hope. Really was my whole I guess my whole chant was just, I want to bring hope. Like, Lord, I want to give people hope.
Hmm.
So I switched my major and went to, you know, the psychology route. Then here I am now working as, a professional, loving what I do, doing what I love. And I'm so honored to just walk with individuals who are willing and vulnerable enough to let me into those places. Like, it's truly an honor, you know, it's truly an honor when a person or a family is like, here, we are willing to show you all of our junk, right? All of, you know, what we try to hide, healing and hope. And I'm like, oh, I love it. So I'm so thankful. I love what I do. That's kind of the background for me right now. I'm currently working on my clinical license for my licensed master in social work. And I should be complete with that by November. So I'm very excited for my next license. So I'm just working my way up.
We're so excited for you too. I don't know if you've been seeing the comment, but people are saying really beautiful things. Healing professions go beyond being a doctor. We are proud of you. Awesome, Chris. We need more of you, and it's an honor to have you here. And I think it's beautiful what you did, like literally going after what you want, when you can go after what you want. It's really beautiful.
Thank you so much.
No problem. No problem. So we're gonna go ahead and start, and I'm just gonna start throwing all those questions at you. I'm kidding. But yeah, so a major contribution to mental health stigma is the lack of understanding of what mental health is and mental health issues. So what I want to ask you is, what constitute mental health issues? Like, what is that?
Yeah, so I would honestly say that anything that brings about any form of dysfunction relationally with others, with yourself, would constitute a mental health issue or concern, right? It could be simply that me and you cannot get along well, and we were good friends, but because of an issue that I'm dealing with, it's causing tension and it's causing conflict between our relationship, deep conflict, because of my internal struggle with my mental health, right? It's now bleeding onto other people without me really even knowing, right? It can cause dysfunction in relationships. It can cause dysfunction within yourself. It could be thinking patterns. It could be eating issues. It could be, you know, just simply the hormonal piece of it, right? As we see it with like depression, right? If it's a biochemical depression, it's tied into your hormones and how those are regulated. So I think in the constitution, whatever constitutes that would simply be the dysfunction that happens within either the relationships you're in or within yourself.
So basically, like almost like battling with yourself.
Yep.
And so that could result as, like, I guess, depression, anxiety, different.
Well, yeah. So for example, if someone who has anxiety or struggles with anxiety, you know, let's say they have, you know, an anxiety when they go into places with large crowds, right? That will affect them. That will affect them in symptomatic ways, right? It could be, you know, difficulty with breathing, feeling like they're suffocating. They could spiral into a whole panic attack, right? It could become sweaty, you know, very just jittery, just whatever their symptoms might be, what occur. And ultimately, we're looking at potentially a panic attack, a spiral. So for that person, that's dysfunction within themselves, right? And then also it now bleeds into the external, because people around you could be like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? Why is she so on edge? Or why is she so snappy? Or whatever that might look like, right? But it's not that you're doing that intentionally, right? You're also kind of working through your own inner, you know, your own inner issues that you may need more help with from a professional, right? Or just more awareness. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Crystal. I'm just gonna take a moment to address the audience. I forgot to say this earlier. We encourage you guys to participate during the session, and if you do, you have a chance. Crystal, if you could pay attention, you're gonna have to pick 2 people at the end to win something. So that would be awesome. So we encourage you guys to honestly participate. So we're gonna go into the next question for Crystal. And what does mental health stigma look like in our society?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, mental health stigma looks like suffering in silence. It looks like suffering in silence. It looks like being shamed, feeling shame. It looks like being isolated, right? Becoming an other, becoming a them, those people, right? It might even look like, living in fear that if anyone were to find out about this, they would not love me. I would be less valuable. I would be less wanted, right? So it can look like so many other things, but that stigma really just brings this huge banner and this huge obstacle that doesn't allow for people to pursue healing or to even just open up to one person about a struggle they may be going through out of fear or out of shame. I know, being from a Nigerian, descent, a background, it's seen as a weakness, right? In the African American community, it's seen as a weakness, right? To have a mental health concern or to struggle with your mental health because we're not supposed to do. That's not what we do, and that's not we're beings. That's not what humans do. Because in the day, a lot of times when we think about even certain mental health issues or concerns, those stem from trauma. Essentially, trauma is a wound to your brain, right? Trauma is a wound to your brain. This could occur from trauma you've experienced just in and day out of life, or it could be childhood trauma, seeing things, experiencing things that hinder your brain from developing in a healthy, functioning way, right? Trauma is that blow to the brain, is that wound to the brain. And essentially what's going to have to happen is healing for it to get back to where it needs to be. But if we suppress that and push it away, we're now left with these habits or these mechanisms that are completely unhealthy, right? And no one would say like, oh, they have mental health problems. We'll just say they're a mean person, they're a bad person, they're rude. But when you really dig deep down, you realize that there's so much that's happening underneath what you can see. And that's the sad part about not getting help, right? Because at least if you say, okay, I struggle with PTSD, people around you will be more empathetic, right? And say, oh, guys, let's try to like understand. Let's try to like calm down. Let's try to, at least try to make this environment more, conducive or more helpful for this person. But if you're just like, stuffing it and not wanting to get that help, it just kind of seems like you're just a really mean person. Like you're just rude. And that might not be the case, right? But yeah, I kind of went on a tangent there, but that's kind of what I would say about that.
Right. Someone said in the comment that Nasi finished, so we know they share I don't know if you speak like some broken. They're basically saying that when they feel like they share their emotions with people, people take advantage of it and maybe use it to abuse them.
Yeah.
I guess that's what they're trying to say.
Absolutely. And I would say you're going to have to pinpoint the people you can trust. Everyone cannot know your business, like as it pertains to almost everything in life, right? We're not going to tell everyone all our business, but find that person that you're like, wow, this person really cares for me. This person really loves me, would support me. Let them into this struggle, right? Let me let them into this situation, not the whole world or the whole family. But you're going to want to find someone that won't take advantage of you. And you're going to also want to maybe be aware of what it looks like to be taken advantage of. So if this person is now using your mental illness to like tell you, oh, you don't know what you're saying, you're crazy, that's taken advantage of, and that's a bridge that you need to leave or remove yourself from. You can trust someone, over time, right? That person comes for you, that person is typically rooting for you, the person is typically close to you, this person fairly well. This is someone that you can say that if you were in danger you would call. That's how you them. If you were in danger, you would call them. That's a trusted person, right? But it is hard. Absolutely, it is hard, especially if you've been burned so many times. It's so difficult to really even allow yourself to open up to trusting. Let's even start there. Let's go back, allowing yourself to open up to trusting someone, and that sometimes will be a risk, right? You're gonna have to risk vulnerability to see. Same thing like falling in love or getting married. This is a risk. There's no like guarantee. It's like it's a risk. I'm opening myself up to potentially being hurt and trusting this person will not do this, right? So that's kind of what I would say. Trusting is a risk. It definitely could come with pain, but it could come with more goodness, right? It might not. It might end in you being thankful that you shared with this person, and you learn, right? You learn from every situation, good or bad. So I feel like it's definitely a possibility.
Yes. So there are a few comments here. Like, definitely, if you do have that, like you mentioned with the trust issues,
Mhm.
you suggest that they do have that. Maybe they should go ahead and maybe they can start with maybe meeting a therapist and actually open
Right.
up to them, and maybe that's a place to start from.
Yeah. And I mean, I definitely understand the hurt that could come from trusting someone and you know,
Mm-hmm.
just, but also you have to remember that humans are humans and
Word.
they're imperfect. They
True.
fail you. And if you go in with that mindset,
Mm-hmm.
it helps soften the blow. Does that make sense?
Mm.
Like it really does. Because if you go in like you're my all, you're my everything, oh, you're gonna be the whole world to me, oh, you're gonna, and then they fail you and they are crying. I mean, it's you have to go in realizing like, hey, this person is also flawed. This person is also imperfect. This person may fail me. This person may hurt me, but they may not. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really a gamble you have to be willing to take.
Yep. Because the truth is, even we are flawed. No one is perfect.
Exactly. So even you might not be even trustworthy. You know,
Yeah.
you that are a trustworthy person. Like,
Or
are you trustworthy? So it's like,
I
so you have to really just try to, you know, and also not just opening up. It could be also maybe if you're, I see some people saying they're not ready to open up, that's quite risky. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
At least like one, finding a professional that can help you with that, right? That's confidential. It is illegal for a therapist to share information out of confidentiality if they're not subpoenaed to court and it's not under law, right?
Mm-hmm.
Number two, journal, processing, you know, grabbing yourself a little booklet, writing down your thoughts and emotions, having an outlet where you can express yourself from you to you, right? This will at least bring about more clarity. Yes, forever, Miriam, I am a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
So this will at least bring about, exactly, yes, girl, HIPAA rule.
HIPAA.
Um, so yes, right. And like I could get my license snatched away. We're talking 2 years of graduate school, 4 years of undergraduate. I mean, who has time to lose 6 years of schooling and the money and the energy I wasted on? Like, no. So I'm
No.
not going to disclose any information. Like, I love my job. I love what I do. And I've worked hard for my license. Why would I lose it over just sharing someone's business? For what? Am
Mm-hmm.
I three? So I think we also have to remember that therapists are literally like by law, right? If in the case, right, there are confidentiality breaches that do occur. If you are wanting to harm yourself, that is in the best interest of the client, and we have to call for help, right? If you are wanting to complete suicide or wanting to hurt yourself, we do have to call for help and see if we could get you under some form of watch, right? To make
Yeah.
sure you stay safe. The goal is to keep you safe here, not to punish you, not to tell your business, but to make sure you're okay. What other things? Maybe if you said that, you know, you're being abused, that's another one, especially if you're a child. If you're being abused and you're an adult, there's not much a therapist can do unless you report it. But if you're a child or you're a minor, that's different. That's a CPS call. So at the end of the day, it's like some things will be breaches, but for the most part, everything you tell your therapist, it stays in a vault. It stays with them.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. And I just think it's very important to just like talk. You
Right.
you have to talk to somebody,
Right.
because when you keep it in, it just gets worse. So
Absolutely.
yes.
When I was in college, I can't remember the school of psychology, but there's a specific guy who believed so strongly in talk therapy, and I am 100% with him. Like,
Mm-hmm.
talked about your problems or issues and just felt better after. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's a release, you know. It's like getting to finally get it all out.
Yes.
And I went to school in Nigeria, and I remember one of my classmates would always say, a problem shared is a problem half solved. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, I've never thought of it like that. You know, like when you share it, it's halfway solved because there's two people,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So that's I think the note for thought, like just to think of like, wow, if I share this, at least maybe two heads can come together and think of a solution.
Yeah. Or even sharing it with a random person that you don't know, if you feel like the people that you do know are just like gonna mess
Right.
you up. But
Right.
yeah.
A therapist or a random person you don't know won't have a bias. They don't know you. They don't know Funke. That's giving you
Yes.
don't know that. They don't know who she is. They
Yeah,
don't know.
they don't know
So
that.
they don't know. So they're just here to get it from the lens of what you're telling them and how to help you, you know, work with it.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
Yes. Thank you so much. And my next question for you is, why do you believe people often stigmatize mental health issues?
Yeah, I think people stigmatize it in the same way they stigmatize a lot of things, right? It's different. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It
Mm.
doesn't. You can see a wound, right? You can see, oh wow, I cut myself. We can all see that. But if I tell you that I'm so sad, I'm so angry, I'm so this, and I have a perfect life, you look at me like I'm crazy. You're like, what? Add up. You have this perfect life. You have this perfect, you know, everything, and you're sad. Okay, but what we don't see are the hormones, right? We don't see the internal workings of the brain. We don't see what our eyes have seen and the trauma that it could cause to our brains, right? Don't see that. So it's
Right.
easy to stigmatize it. It's easy to say, come on, stop it. That's not true, right? It's easy because we don't see those things. It's easy to say that a person should stop behaving the way they're behaving because we're not aware of what their brain has kept the score of, or what their body rather has kept the score of. So yeah, so I would say for sure that it is a thing where, you know, there is this huge stigma on it, and it's unfortunate. But I believe the more that we are willing to open up and talk about it, the more we're able to move forward. Like for example, this year I was diagnosed. Last year I was diagnosed, and I'm sitting here thinking like I'm great. I'm a therapist. I have most of the answers. But here I am living with a disorder, right? And it took a lot for me to really grapple with it, or even to ever care to share with anyone. I mean, obviously my husband and close friends and family, I would tell them, but it took a lot. But it was like, hey, like, you're still human. It's okay. You're still human. You're human, right? And I think also people fear being put in a box. People fear being limited, right? And absolutely, I understand that. But be that example and break those limits. I'm a therapist that has their own struggle, has their own mental health issues that I work with, that I'm in treatment for, that I'm consistently healing from, right? And healing with. So it's like, you know, be the anomaly. I think there's actually someone, it's a politician, and he's over like, it's in America. I don't know his name for some reason, but he's over like the drug regulation in America. He has his own history. He's in recovery from an alcohol use disorder. So it's like, be the anomaly. Imagine you're in this huge cabinet position, and you yourself are recovering from it. But guess what? You have more knowledge and insight
Exactly.
than anyone else.
Exactly.
Anyone else. You you are most informed about this situation.
Yes.
Because you internally deal with it, right?
Yes.
So instead of seeing it as a weakness, we can turn it around as a strength. Instead of saying, oh, woe is me, oh, I have this issue, my clients won't like me, they'll think that I don't know what I'm saying. It's like, if anyone understands more, it might just be me. Because I understand how hard it can be. I understand how impossible it can feel. I understand how hopeless you can get, right? So it gives now I don't tell my clients I any of my personal information like that, but it helps me realize that I still have value and so much power and authority in what I'm doing and walking in.
Yes. And I think when you're in that position, you're best suited to help those people out, because you can relate to them. Yes. And I love something that you spoke about while I was doing research about this topic. I saw something that said mental health is not a decision, it's a disorder. I'm trying to remember how it went. And some people had an argument, because some people believe mental health is a decision, others believe it's not a decision. And I'm just like, if you like, the way I look at it is, as women, when we go through our periods, right, you see, I don't know, the mood change, you can't even control it. You're like, I'm like the most nicest person when I'm not on, and then when I'm on, don't try me. You know, so things like this. I'm like, I mean, what is your opinion on that topic? Mental health do you think it's a decision?
Oh
It's
gosh, I don't even this. I just it's comedy to me. Like even the question is comedic. It's absolutely not a decision.
mm,
You don't choose to be traumatized. You don't choose
mm,
to go through life's events, right? You're not asking for this. I love the quote that says, you know, you are not responsible for what happened.
mm-hmm.
For a second, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can hear you back.
I love the quote that goes, you are not responsible for what happened to you, but you are responsible for what you do with what happened to you. And I love that because it's
Mm-hmm.
true. You're not responsible for what happened to you. You're not.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't ask to be abused. You didn't ask to experience this. You didn't ask to genetically have this. And I mean, mental health issues are also genetic too. They can be passed down. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's another thing to be aware of. That they can be passed down. Mental health issues can be actually passed down from family member to family member. So being aware of your family history is so important because if your mother struggled with anxiety or chronic anxiety, that
Mm-hmm.
could be used. So just be aware of those signs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And know when to seek out treatment. But yeah, so I think we definitely just need to be aware of our role in our mental health, right? It's not your fault. It wasn't your choice. You didn't choose
Mm-hmm.
to go through manic states or depression. You didn't choose, I mean, you didn't choose this. You know, you didn't wake up and say, hey, I want to be dysfunctional. I want to feel, that's not what we asked for. So it's like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Like, nah. So I think ignorance is what pushes people to think it's a decision, like it's for
Mm-hmm.
attention. And I really hate that. I really hate the whole attention thing because guess what? Even if it's for attention, that person there's still an outcry. There's something that person needs, right? It may not
Mm-hmm.
be what they're saying, but something is still going on that we're missing. So even if like, oh, it's an attention thing, okay, let's give them attention then. It better give them attention for them to complete suicide or to completely check out and just, do God knows what that might be reckless. So I think that's kind of what I would say for that one.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, guys, I know you guys have a lot of questions. Crystal will get to attend to them at the end of this. So, just be patient with us, and you can put it in the question box. So, assuming someone comes to us, Crystal, and they tell us that they have a mental issue, they're having suicidal thoughts, they're having anxiety, or they've experienced a situation that they think makes them prone to developing a mental health condition, how should we? We're not therapists, so but as the community, how should we respond to these individuals?
Yeah, I think that listening goes a long way. Listening to that person, empathizing with them. Um, I don't think it's like, so for example, empathizing and sympathizing are two different things.
Mm,
Sympathizing, oh, that sucks for you. Man, sorry. Like, that sucks to be you. Like, man, your problem. Empathy is, wow, I can't even understand how hard that must be. Wow.
mm,
I can't imagine. Can you tell me more about that?
mhm.
Wow, is there anything that you need from me? What is the best way that I can support you? That is probably the easiest sentence to ask anyone you might know that's struggling. What
Mm,
is the best way I can support you?
mm,
Don't assume what they need. Don't, tell them what they need.
mhm.
What is the best way I can support you?
I love that.
That's
So
it.
guys, write that down. Simple. What is the best way I can support you?
Yeah.
Let's show more empathy
Mm-hmm.
to those that might be suffering or prone to developing mental health conditions.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I'm gonna sink that. Brain, remember what is
Yeah.
I'm gonna sink that down in my brain. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And
Because have the answers, and we don't have to put the pressure on us to always have the answers either. But we
mhm,
ask that person what they need from us. Mm-hmm.
yeah, someone said don't assume what people need. Yes,
Right.
yes, yes. And just listening. Sometimes they just want you to listen. Even if
Mm.
you don't know anything, they just want to just yap, just
Right.
to listen. So you're right, Crystal. We should
Mm.
just listen. So this is one thing that I've come to realize. Some people expect mental health issues to look like, oh, someone is like schizophrenic, hallucinating, depressed, sad. That's what some people expect mental health to look like. But a lot
Mm-hmm.
of times, mental health does not look like this. If we look at I think Kate Spade, she died from mental health issues. If we look at people like who else, Whitney Houston, and just some of these really big individuals, these celebrities that look like everything was perfect on the outside, but when you get to look on the inside, they were battling a lot of stuff. So my question for you is, sometimes we can tell someone is experiencing mental health issues. At other times, we might not be able to tell due to the mask that people hide behind when they're dealing with this, because of the fear of being stigmatized. And then by the time we find out, it's often too late. How can we recognize individuals masking their mental health conditions? How can we recognize them and help them before it's
Yeah. So I think in order to help someone, especially as it pertains to mental health, sometimes it will require you being close to them, right? It will require being in a position that you can speak into the situation, or you can actually realize this person is struggling. So to me, it might look like even just knowing this person's patterns, right? Knowing the person's, how they are, right? For example, if someone were to see, you know, let's say you have a friend that's very outgoing, she loves to hang out with everyone. Every time you hit her up, she's always ready to go out. A week passes and you have not heard from her. You've asked her to come out. She's like, I'm just going to stay home for the whole. What would go off? What should go off in your brain? Something's wrong.
Something is wrong. Yeah.
Right. Let's talk about it. It could be that she's going through maybe a manic phase. It could be that she's just, I mean, it could be anything. But it is important to realize that pattern break and to say, hey, you are acting like you. Let's talk about it, right? It could be maybe even an increase in risky behaviors, behaviors that might lead to being injured or possible death, right? It's like, why are you so like you're taking a lot of risks right now? What's going on? Right? It could be, instead of your friend drinking maybe one glass of wine, she's drinking 10. That's different. Just drink 10. She drinks 1 usually. So you look at patterns. You don't just assume, oh yeah, they just like 10 drinks. It's like it's changing, right?
I might assume that. I might be guilty of that. Like, oh, maybe she just likes, going through midlife crisis.
Crisis nonetheless, right? So definitely just taking notes of their behavior. And sometimes I also want to give the disclaimer, sometimes you won't catch it. Sometimes it might just be so silent and subtle that you just will catch it. And you can't really blame yourself either for not catching it. You can't start from now to just say, hey, I'm going to be more attentive to my friends. I'm going to be more attentive to my family. I'm going to look out more for signs of isolation. I'm going to look out for signs of changes that might spark a red flag of them needing help, or potentially an outcry like, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. What does that mean? What do you mean? So,
yeah, because even when I look back, even some of the most difficult times of my life, I would still always wear a smile on my face. You know, no one would know. It's just, you know, so you're right. Sometimes you might never be able to tell. So keep your friends in your prayers. Regardless. Yes. Thank you so much. And can you please share some resources that people can use to support themselves and their loved ones when they're dealing with mental health issues?
Yeah, absolutely. So for women specifically, there's a website called Therapy for Black Girls. Another site called Psychology Today. This is basically a collection of all types of therapists and all types of counselors, different licenses. They have specifically what they do, who they cater to, their type of therapy, the cost. Some therapists go based off of a sliding scale. This basically means they go based off of your income. So if you're not making they won't take a lot from you. Another website could be the National Institute of Mental Health. That's another one. The National Institute of Mental Health has resources, has numbers you can also call. The suicide hotline is on there, and different things like that. But yeah, those are some resources that I for sure would recommend. Another resource that is on the come up is a course I'm actually launching. It's a 4-week course, and basically as it pertains to mental health, working through your own, healing, your own experiences, learning how to process, learning what it looks like to even connect the spiritual piece of where God comes into your mental health. Because I really struggled with that. I struggled so much with that. So just talking about, learning coping skills, learning self-awareness, learning processing. Now, mind you, this is not therapy. This is more so just the psychoeducation that kind of equips you to use daily for your own personal life. So if you are interested in that, that's going to be on my website. You can join the waiting list. I haven't launched just yet. I'm going to announce it soon. So you guys will get the first hand to go and sign up, because it will be first come, first serve. So that is going to be at www.crystalotv.com/courses.
Awesome.
Also, yeah, my husband just put in the chat therapyforblackmen.org if you are
Yes.
a man and you are looking for therapy.
Yes, because someone asked earlier when you said therapy for Black girls, they were like, "How about for Black men? How about for Black men?" So thank you for putting that down. And I guess when we're done with this, if you could just please maybe send me a little, send me those resources, and I can create something and just post it for them. And yes, thank you. And I just want to say, guys, like Crystal just mentioned, she is starting a course. If you are interested in that, I would say you should check it out. I've been loving her so far, and I think we've all learned a thing or the other just from having her on. Literally, it's been just like about 30 something minutes, but she has a lot of insight, and I would highly suggest, if you have any mental health conditions, or maybe just want to learn and educate yourself,
Absolutely.
sign
And
up for it.
it'll be very beginner friendly.
Yeah.
It's very relatable. It's like I said, it's just like you say, if you just want to learn, or you just want to self. And also, I always say that healing is not linear, right? My course is simply just going to equip you on your current state where you are in your. So that's
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for those in Nigeria, do you have any resources for those individuals that might be in Nigeria?
I actually did some research. Well, my husband helped me do some research, and there was nothing concrete. There were some funds that you could give to, but nothing concrete, unfortunately. I think that in Nigeria, I'm Nigerian, so I can say this, and I used to live there. I lived there for 5.5 years, so I can actually say that we're not there yet, unfortunately. Like we're still moving past a lot of hardship in Nigeria, corruption. There's so much. So no one is going to sit down to talk to you about it. Like, mental health is not a focus right now, and it's so sad, because people are out there completing suicide. People are out there struggling. People are walking the streets struggling, right? But we don't have services, because it's just like there's no resource, there's no government funding. I mean, pray for Nigeria. I always ask my audience, please, if you just say a prayer for Nigeria tonight, like, please, because it is unfortunate and it breaks my heart. Now, what I would say that is, if you are in Nigeria, thank God for, let's say, courses like mine that I'm launching, right? You can partake in that, because you can just download it and now you have it, right? You can purchase it and now you're good to go. You can see another course that you really like that's in America and take it online and self-development personally. So thank God for that. But in terms of like in-person direct, I unfortunately don't have any suggestions.
Absolutely. Thank you. And then someone mentioned earlier, they said something about there's a Instagram page also called Mentally Aware NG. That
Okay.
might be a resource for those in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So something to, so.
Right. Mentally aware. Yeah.
NG. Yes.
Please
So
do.
go
That's
ahead.
amazing.
Go ahead, Chris. I didn't hear you.
I said that's amazing. I'll look into them myself.
Yes, yes, yes. And also, you guys follow Crystal, learn from her.
Yeah.
You know what I love about you, Crystal?
That.
You're so like consistent. Like you are just like when I see your page every day, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so on top of it. I wish I could be on top of it like that. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
So good job. I pray God blesses your hustle. Just
Amen.
keep going. Keep
Amen.
going. Yeah, and lastly, to round off my questions for you, and then we'll go up to take on the audience questions. Lastly, I just want to say stigmatizing mental illness has a lot of negative consequences. What can we do to end the stigma what can we do as a community to end the stigma associated with mental health?
Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. Join lives like this. Pitch into the conversation. Console, comfort, love a friend who might be struggling. Defend people who maybe speak against illnesses. Yeah, just debunk the shame that needs to be associated with going through something or an issue with your mental health. Debunk that. Like, let's say, like, I know, like, you know, maybe not just like, look at her, she can't even, she sleeps all day, is she pregnant? It's like the shame, you know, the insult that comes with being considered lazy when you might be depressed. You know what I mean? So instead of jumping to conclusions, instead of jumping to assumptions, just be open to listening and learning, and also observing and being aware that mental issues are real. They're a real thing, even if we can't see them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Crystal. That's my question for you. I appreciate everything you did. You were amazing. So yeah, you're not crazy, you're human. Exactly. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yes. So now we're not going to go on to the question, and I'm just going to put some question on here, and if you could answer it, that would be awesome.
Can you hear me?
Say that again. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I might be able to do like 3. My battery is running low, so I don't want it to cut off on us.
Okay, perfect. So we'll try to keep it fast and get it out of the way. So someone said, how do you boost your mental health?
Yeah, so with boosting your mental health, this could look like even just daily waking up, making sure that you're feeding your mind, right, in a positive manner. This could be listening to a worship song. This could be reading a reflection of affirming your day, right? I am worthy. This could be, you know, exercising. This could be through the foods you eat, right? Because I don't know about you, but if I eat junk food, I'm gonna feel like junk. Okay. So this could be through the foods you eat. This could be through what you're taking in. What are you listening to? What are you watching? Right? Is it triggering you? Is it causing more harm than good? It could be even just, you know, doing something that calms you down. It could be, you know, you've picked up this hobby of sewing, you've picked up this hobby of painting, right? These things could all be helpful with coping skills, right? It could even look like simply just sitting and just clearing your head, like meditation, clearing your head and just trying to focus on just the good, having that gratitude, right? Gratitude goes a long way. Being able to point out the things in your life that are going well versus the things that are not, right? So realizing, oh my gosh, my life is actually popping, you know? But, you know, just gratitude.
Gratitude.
You know, because when things go wrong, they feel wrong. Like, it's like everything feels like it's ending. But when you sit back and you're like, wait, I am still so blessed. It doesn't mean that I still shouldn't struggle with what I'm feeling. It just means that I am now aware of what I do have versus not aware of it.
Exactly. Gratitude. I had a show on that a while ago, and it was beautiful. Like gratitude, it's amazing. I can't stress that enough. Just finding the good in the bad. Someone asked this question: can someone heal completely from mental health? I think that's a great question.
I mean, I believe you can. I believe I mean, also, I mean, I believe in God. So that's where I come from. But I believe in God. I believe God can absolutely do it. And if God doesn't do it, I still believe that you're a functioning person that can continue to prevail and continue to push past and continue your journey of healing and grow. Whether you can heal from it completely or not, I do believe you can grow, period. And it may not look like everything is perfect because who is perfect, right? Nobody. There's no such thing as perfect on earth right now. So to me, it's like you may not heal 100%, but you can grow. And that speaks wonders to where you were and where you are after that healing has happened.
You're stronger.
You're stronger.
Yep. Yes, you're stronger. Thank you. We're going to take the last question, and then we're going to let Crystal choose her winners, and we're going to let her go. Does peer group influence Timmy said, does peer group influence affect mental health?
Peer group influence, absolutely. So if you're in a toxic friend group, that is absolutely going to impact your mental health. Just the consistent emotion, maybe like there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of maybe negativity in terms of like, well, we should just like not care about life, we should just do it, like just like those voices speaking into your life, right? Those are gonna influence your decisions ultimately if you're continuously around that crowd and those people. Peers, of course, when you're around your peers, you want to belong. So in seeking belonging, you're going to want to do what you have to do to fit in. Now, if they're all practicing destructive behaviors and patterns, you might learn that and it might become habitual. It might not mean that you have a disorder, but it might become habitual to you, which still can cause destruction in your life and ultimately end in a poor mental health state.
Yes. Like you mentioned earlier, you said surround yourself with positive people, feed your mind with positive things and all of that. So you're absolutely right. So someone is begging us to please answer their question. So can I give you one last question,
Yeah,
please?
go for it.
Phone, do not die on us. Do not die. Someone said, is overthinking a part of mental illness?
It can be, but I wouldn't say that it is. I wouldn't say that, oh, because you overthink you have a mental illness. No. Everyone or anyone can experience overthinking. It could just be, I think too deep into things. I really want to understand things. I think when the overthinking comes to a place that brings about dysfunction, like it's crippling, it causes you to not ever choose something. It causes you to freeze. It causes dysfunction. Or in better words, it causes the ability to function normally. Then yes, I would say that you could potentially look into help that might be needed for that. It could stem from anxiety. It could stem from just anxiety that could be presenting itself or manifesting in the form of overthinking. And it could be many things. It could be PTSD. You overthink because you experienced this traumatic event. So now you just want to learn, you want to make sure everything is calculated, it really, so many other things, right? But that's where therapy comes in, because therapy will help you pinpoint. It's really hard to say one symptom you throw out, because that symptom could align with 5 different disorders. You know what I mean? So we can't really pinpoint and just say, oh yeah, you definitely have this. That's why I always say don't self-diagnose. Please go to like a professional. So yeah, it could be so many different things, because it's like, what is the root of the overthinking? That is the real question. Is it from when you were a kid and your mom left you and you thought you were abandoned and now you overthink everything with people? That could stem from, attachment disorders. We just don't know until you get deep down into the why. So, but yeah, I would say overthinking, I would say it's relatively common. It's just based off of what is really going on deeper. So
Absolutely. That's a great answer. That's a good answer. Someone said, can we book you? Yes.
well, for now, so like I said, I'm working on my clinical license. I should have that by November. For now, I would suggest looking into the 4-week course. There will be an option to have a check-in with me for one of the packages, a weekly check-in for that 4-week course. So that's an option that you can select. Even if we're not in the same country, you can still do that. We can find a time that we're both available and we can do check-ins. The link is commented below here. Again, it's www.crystalotv.com/courses. If you go there, literally just put your information in, and once the course releases, I'll be able to contact you and let you know, hey, we're good to go. And if you're in a different country, I mean, it's fine. We can find a time. If you do the weekly check-in with me, we'll find a time that kind of works close to like my evening, your morning. We'll figure out how to make that work.
Yes, and I love how your husband is just like supporting you. It's so beautiful. So good job, Mr. Yinka. Very good job. And so Crystal, I just want to say thank you so much. I think that you made the right decision when you said you wanted to help people in a different way, help them heal and all of that. And I
Yeah.
think you're doing a great job. Like just everyone has learned something from you, a thing or the other here. And I'm
Yeah.
glad to have you on. So thanks again. Everybody, do me a favor, literally just like comment thank you to Crystal if you're on here. Like literally just let us bust her brain. Like, yeah.
The winners are Hamida
Yeah, the winners.
and Ola Yosi.
Oh, you chose Amida and Ola Toyosi? Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, girls. You got, I mean, girl and boy. Yes. So, guys, if you guys did win, go ahead and send me your information in my email, your account number, and I will go ahead and send something to you. So, thank you so much. Thank you, Crystal. We appreciate you. Everybody, do have a wonderful day, and thank you. We'll see you on the next episode of Convos with Dideros. Bye.
Bye.